Hey guys, Drew here. In this video, what I wanted to do is share firsthand what it's like playing a metal show in Nashville, Tennessee, the music capital of the United States, maybe second to LA or New York, but there's a lot of music happening in Nashville, and there's a lot of musicians of all types, including metal, moving to the Nashville area. I think they just see it as a place to be, right? A place to connect with other musicians. So first, what I wanted to do is just share with you guys like what I've been up to, and really what I've been up to is trying to play live shows, okay? Trying to take my guitar playing out of the bedroom and get out on stage and play for other people. Hopefully bring a smile, bring some joy to some other people out there. Life is tough, and metal makes it a little bit easier for a lot of people out there. So I try to provide that for the local citizenry that is around me. So just to update you guys with what's been going on, I play in two bands right now. My main band, who I would consider my main band, is Xaphon. That's the music that I write. Put out a record in January. I'm assembling a lineup right now. I think we have the lineup completed, and we have begun practicing. So that's, in fact, why my voice sounds a little shot right now. It's because I was screaming into a microphone for 3 hours yesterday, trying to work on my vocals and my technique. That is kind of my baby project, in the sense that like I write a lot of the music. I'm kind of the point person for that band, or arranging practices, finding a drummer, a bass player, other guitar players, which thankfully I have a solid crew of dudes to make this a reality. So more on that if you like Xaphon, if you like the stuff that I've released. We'll be talking about shows here in the next probably month or so that might announce a show for some time in the fall. So all that to say, the other band that I play in is called Proselyte, and that is a kind of progressive deathcore band, kind of old school deathcore. I've been playing with those guys since last year in September. I actually started off playing drums in Proselyte, but I've since moved to guitar. Just a better fit for me as a human. I kind of discovered that drumming is really hard and it takes a lot of your time. So I've opted to stick with what I'm most comfortable with. We played 2 shows last week, and so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. We played at Dark Matter in Nashville. It's a local DIY venue. It is, in fact, one of the only DIY venues that has survived the great gentrification of the city of Nashville over the last 10 years or so. So we played a show opening for Filth, Life Cycles, and Infurious. And there were a couple other local bands on the show. A band called Hard Reset, which is an insane hardcore band. Have to check out Hard Reset and see them live if you're in Nashville. And then another band, Dissonation, they're like a technical deathcore. They're just insane. I was truly blown away by their music.
Somebody who has the smoothest brain here. No wrinkles, only smoothness.
they have a guitar player in their band that plays like jazz piano, not really while they're playing their set, but he played some jazz piano while we were at the show, and it just like blew my mind. Like he's a real jazz musician. He also plays saxophone, and he plays the hell out of a Kiesel 7-string guitar, and I think he writes some of the music. But that guy and that band, I don't understand why Destination is not opening for Lorna Shore. Like they are that good. Stage moves, execution of their music, everything about what they did was mind-blowing. Okay, that show was super fun, and we'll talk a little bit more about some advice on what you can do to kind of prepare for playing your first local show, at least in Nashville. But I think the things that I'll talk about, they will apply to other scenes in the United States at least. So definitely stick around for that. After all the local bands played, a band called Infurious played, and they're actually a 3-piece band: drummer, guitar player, and vocalist. And I think maybe they're going through some lineup changes right now. I'm not really sure, but what they did on stage was really impressive. So, check them out, Infurious Band, on Instagram. After them, a band called Life Cycles played, and they are a kind of thrash, like a new wave of thrash band from San Antonio, Texas. They're all Hispanic dudes in the band. They were insane. Absolutely incredible execution of their music and their songs. And they had kind of this old school Slayer, Pantera vibe. We're talking dive bombs, V-shaped guitars, Floyd Rose tremolos, ridiculous drumming, a bass player who actually played with his fingers and was just slapping the literal F out of his bass. That was crazy. Their drummer went off in a really hardcore way. Really tight band. You could tell these guys practice a lot. Their drummer played to the click, and then the band followed the drummer, which I thought was a very old school way of doing the live metal thing, where you see a lot of bands these days, everybody's got in-ears and they're using an X32 rack with a click and backing tracks. That's what Proselyte does. That's probably what Xaphon will do. The show was awesome. It was a relatively well-organized show. There was probably 50 people, 60 people that came out for that show. And I know that doesn't sound like very many, but the venue itself can maybe fit 80 to 100 people in there. It's a very small venue. People still mosh there. They have like a bar where they sell beer and various non-alcoholic drinks, snacks. The people that work there are just really sweet and really nice. And I love what Dark Matter has done for the music scene. I would love to play there again, with any band that I'm a part of. They book a lot of really cool underground bands. I plan on seeing Mizmor at Dark Matter when they come to town here in a few weeks. They're one of my favorite bands. They're from the I want to say Seattle area, but it might be Portland. Anyway, Pacific Northwest, black metal, Mizmor. I'm going to be at that show at Dark Matter here in a couple weeks. The next show that we played was at The End in Nashville, which is a historic venue. It's been there since 1999. It's right across the street from Exit In, which is another historic venue that's been there maybe since the late 80s, early 90s. A couple years ago, there was somebody who was going to buy that venue and tear it down and put like a giant apartment complex or hotel there. But a lot of the people lobbied to the city and basically prevented that from happening, so that whoever bought Exit In was not allowed to tear it down. And in fact, that's what's going on right now. Whoever owns Exit In has agreed to not tear it down, and it remains a music venue. That whole area, it's called Elliston Place in Nashville, it's a historic district, okay? There's bars and restaurants and music stores that were there. It's a little different than it was when I first moved to town, but I think what Nashville is trying to do is preserve that area, and the End is a part of that. It's literally like this little building tucked away behind the main strip there, and that's where hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of underground metal shows, just if you're a small artist in Nashville and you want to do a show, you can do one there for a few $100. If you could come up with that money, you can host your own show there. We got added to the Alluvial show that was happening there. Alluvial is heading up north to play in Canada. They're a huge metal band. They wanted to play a couple dates on the way there, so they decided to do a Nashville show. Legacy Concerts, I believe, booked that show, and they added Proselyte as one of the opening bands, and I had a great time just hanging out that day. My little brother was there helping me load in and stuff like that. My wife came out to the show. I got to meet Wes Hawk. A lot of other progressive metal musicians ended up coming out. I remember seeing Emil Wursler there, one of the guitar players from Between the Buried and Me. Mark Lewis was at that show. It was just cool to see those guys coming out to see Alluvial. And if you haven't listened to Alluvial, you should definitely check out their new EP. It's called Death Is But a Door. And they played several songs from that EP, but I was just blown away by that band. Just the most professional metal band that I've seen recently. Everything was just super tight. Wes, I think, was maybe tour managing that part of the tour, and he was really cool. He came up and approached all the local bands and talked to us, kind of let us know where his gear was going to be and maybe how we should load our gear on and off the stage. The End is a very small venue. You can maybe fit 200 people in there, maybe 150. They have not a full bar, but they sell beer there and snacks and non-alcoholic drinks. But it's just a cool venue. Kind of smells bad in there, but it's an amazing place to play a show, and I feel like we performed really well there. So for this particular show, there were 3 local bands and 1 headliner, which is pretty common for shows at the End. The first band was us, Proselyte, deathcore band. The second band that played is called Eugen. They were like a progressive metalcore band, I guess is what you would call them. I was amazed by this band as well. They had clean singing and dirty vocals. The vocalist did a whole range of techniques, and he was insane to watch perform. Like, this band went hard in the paint. And if you're in the Nashville area, you should book Eugen, or you should go see them if you can. And just if you guys are watching this, any member of that band, reach out to me. I'd love to do a show with you guys. The third local band that was on the show was a band called Us in Motion. They were more of like a clean singing metalcore band, but they sounded awesome. They were killer. Really enjoyed seeing these guys play. And then after all of the locals played, there's about a 25-minute break. Alluvial took the stage and literally just blew our minds. They played for maybe 45 minutes or so. Their drummer that's touring with them right now, I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'll put a picture of his Instagram on the screen now, but that guy rules. I was blown away by his drumming. He was also really approachable, really cool to talk to. As I mentioned earlier, I talked with Wes for a little bit about guitar stuff and tried to crack a few jokes that didn't really land, but he is a very stoic and approachable guitar player. And so if you're ever in a local band playing a show with Alluvial, don't be afraid to talk to that guy. There's a lot to be learned from such a great guitar player as him. His solos throughout the show were spot on. They were dead on. that band they didn't miss a note. Like, they were just perfect execution of their music. And overall, the show was just a joy to be at. And I think it was over by maybe 11 p.m., but it was just a fun night, fun to play at the end. One of the things that I was a little frustrated in with being in a local band and kind of entering the scene again is that there's really no one running these shows, okay? And I would guess that it's probably the promoter that should be the interface with the local bands. At least at the show at the end, our show that we played on Saturday, there was really no interaction between the promoter and the local bands prior to them kind of sound checking us. In my opinion, what should happen is what the promoter should do, or the sound guy, or whoever is running the show, should just say, hey, who is playing tonight? Okay. And because all of the band members were in the venue, just like bumping into each other, wondering like what the heck is going on. What should happen is they should call all of the band members over, who's playing tonight? And then we have like a brief meeting. Like, you're in the first band, you're going to load in at this time. Here's how you're going to load in. What do you need for inputs? And then they go to the next band. It would be like a 5 to 10 minute conversation that would make the show run smooth. And in fact, Wes Hawk had to come over and talk to the local bands and basically tell people how they should load in, which I found to be kind of interesting. So that's not a knock on the promoter. Like, they were probably stressed out and they had a million things to think about. That's just a word of advice from old shred riffs here. Maybe even ask one of the local bands to run the show. Hey, have you played at the end before? Yes, we have. We've played there dozens of times. Well, would you like to tour manage the show for the local bands? Yes, I would like to do that. You know, it would be something really simple like that. And then you could even tape off sections of the load-in area. Like, your band's going to put your stuff here. Your band's going to put your stuff here. And then you're going to load in at this time and take the stage at this time. It would save a lot of confusion and everything. But hey, I'm just getting my feet wet. I'm just getting back into the scene after kind of being MIA for several years. So maybe I just don't know what's going on. So that was just something that came to mind. Yo guys, thank you so much for checking out this video. Thank you for listening to me talk at length about these things. Hopefully you found the stuff that I shared helpful, and hopefully the things I talked about were interesting. If you're not following my channel, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. In the comments section, maybe share your experience, man. Like, have you played Nashville before? What has it been like for you being in a metal band in the Nashville scene? I'd love to hear from you guys. So with all that to say, have a wonderful day wherever you're at, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.